the Georgia Dome. Bob Costas flanked by Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs. Jim Lampley is down in the winning locker room of the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll be going to Jim Lampley in just a moment, and we hope to hear the speech that Jimmy Johnson will make to his Dallas Cowboy team momentarily. But in the meantime, you know, it's so easy to play amateur psychologist in sports, and that's overdone. But I think today it's pretty obvious. When Thurman Thomas fumbled and James Washington brought it back for the score, and Thomas had fumbled earlier to set up the field goal, well, we'll stop on that point and come back to it after we go to the Dallas locker room. Here's Jimmy Johnson about to address his team. Johnson, there you see him hugging Troy Aikman, not yet ready to take the microphone, and we don't want to risk asking any questions of Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs in the meantime, because we don't want to have you miss any of what Johnson has to say. As you know, he tends to be very emotional in these moments, punctuating whatever remarks he makes by declaring, "How about them Cowboys?" And so we'll just stay right here, and we'll have plenty of time to hear Mike and Joe and their analysis of the game in just a moment. And Jim Lampley will have interviews from the Cowboy locker room. O.J. Simpson is with the defeated Buffalo Bills, and he'll talk with Marv Levy, if that's possible, and some of their players as time allows here on the postgame show as well. The Dallas Cowboys establishing themselves in all likelihood as the team of the 90s. At least they've got a chance to be that. The San Francisco victory in January of '90, followed by the giant win over the Bills, and then your Redskins beating Buffalo the following year. Those were really 80s teams carrying over into the 90s. This is a fresh 90s team, and with the business and football acumen of Jerry Jones in a new era, salary cap, free agency, with Jimmy Johnson and with the talent they have, there's no reason to believe they can't continue.
Well, I have to agree with you right now. I mean, I think they're a little bit opportunistic today, but they're an outstanding football team. They're well coached. They were well organized. They put the right people in the puzzle at the right time. They went out and got the type of players they wanted. They incorporated speed, as Jimmy Johnson said. He didn't go for players. He wanted players who could make plays, and they have players who can make plays. They had two players. Leon Lett made a great strip of the ball. The other kid, Washington, picks it up, runs for the biggest play of the game. Why it happens, I don't know.
Could this game have been different had Thurman Thomas not fumbled early in the third quarter?
I definitely think it could, Bob. I think they had the right game plan in the first half. They were ball controlled, taking charge of things, and I think the turnovers, anytime you turn over, you got it all turned around in the second half. I think they had a great plan. Today, the emotion swung over with the turnovers. I think that it definitely could have gone the other way. I thought we had a game at halftime.
Down to the winner's locker room. Here's Jim Lampley. All right, thank you very much, Bob Costas. We are ready now in the Dallas Cowboys locker room for Commissioner Paul Tagliabue to do the official ceremony of passing along the Lombardi Trophy. A familiar moment already for Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. Commissioner Tagliabue, all yours.
Jerry and Jimmy, your opponent today was an outstanding team, but the Cowboys demonstrated again today that they're well on their way to becoming the team of the 90s, ranking with the great teams in NFL history. Today, the Cowboys are only the 5th team to win 2 back-to-back Super Bowls in the history of the National Football League. I congratulate you, Coach, Jerry as the owner, and all your players.
Paul, okay. Paul, let me first say that this is possible because a man has worked and given everything that he could give, and I'm talking about Jimmy, since we came here. And his spirit and his effort is reflected in the way these players play. This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL, and it's a privilege. Thank you.
Well, Jerry, I think everybody's kind of gotten a kick out of Jimmy and Jerry and thinking that we were at each other's throat. When you win these kind of things, the only thing you're going to do at each other's throat is hug it. And let me just say this. You know, everybody in this room knows this has been an extremely, extremely difficult year. To overcome all the injuries that the guys have overcome, all the things that happened with this football team, for us to come back and win it again, I tell you, my hat's off to every one of these players and coaches, because y'all did a fantastic job. You were not going to come up short of winning the Super Bowl.
All right, congratulations, gentlemen. A couple of questions right now while you get used to keeping the trophy for another year. Jimmy, 13-6 down at halftime. Buffalo seemed to control the first half their way. Millions will want to know, what did you say to these players at halftime?
Well, it really wasn't that big a thing. You know, we made some mistakes the first half. You know, there are two outstanding football teams out there on the field. Buffalo's got a great football team, or else they wouldn't be here. And we made some mistakes. We got a penalty on the 3rd down and 1 that kept us from moving the football. We ran into their punter. It allowed them to go and get 7 points. And we threw the interception. We made mistakes, and they had a couple, but not as many as we did. Second half, they made more mistakes than we made.
The psychological swing when Thomas fumbled and James Washington carried it back for a TD.
Well, that was large. I mean, you know, the thing we have tried to do in putting this football team together is in every position we try to get playmakers, guys that can make plays. And we've got playmakers as backups. We got playmakers throughout the roster. And if you give those guys an opportunity, they'll make the plays to win ball games. You just got to be sound. We weren't real fancy on either side of the ball. Yeah, and that's our game. You talk to any coach in the league, and they say, hey, they're not a real fancy football team. They're really very simple. But if you put players out there that can make plays, it allows you to win a lot of games.
A week ago, you established Emmitt Smith against the 49ers in the first quarter. This time, third quarter, first offensive drive, 7 carries, 61 yards.
Well, he's a great player, and we've got a bunch of great players. Troy Aikman, you know, Michael Irvin. We've got some outstanding great players. And that's what I told Emmitt when we went for it on the 4th down on the goal line. Rather than take the field goal, I said, hey, I believe in you, and I knew you were going to put it in the end zone. That's why we went for it on 4th down.
You joined Shula, Lombardi, and Knoll as the only 4 coaches to win this game back-to-back.
Well, that's in good company, and thanks to Jerry and allowing me to do some things that I do, and thanks to these players, we've won back-to-back Super Bowls.
All right, Jerry, we'll have a question for you in just a moment, but right now, if you gentlemen will put on the headsets and get somebody to hold this trophy for just a second, we are about to have one of the most momentous Arkansas Razorback telephonic reunions of all time as the nation's #1 football fan gets ready to talk to fellow Arkansans, Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. Can you hear us in the White House?
I can, Jimmy. Jerry and Jimmy, can you hear me?
Very well, Mr. President.
Congratulations. You had a great, great day today. I tell you, you played a good football team, and they played a brilliant first half, and you just came back and showed the enormous character and strength and determination. And I think the country in some ways is even more impressed with this Super Bowl victory than the last one. And I know you're proud of your team, and I know you're happy tonight. You deserve to be.
Well, Mr. President, you showed us how to come back about a year ago, and we're proud to be a part of that. And this team has prepared itself so it can have some adversity, and we've had a little bit of it, but boy, are we thrilled to be world champions 2 years in a row.
Mr. President, you know the two of us fairly well. Jerry a lot better than you know me. But I think if you can kind of look at every one of these football players and assistant coaches, every one of them, they have the same drive that what we have.
Well, I was really proud of you. And, you know, I can relate to that, getting down and coming back, and you didn't quit. And at halftime, we were all talking up here, and I said, you know, they still look pretty strong, tackle to tackle, and got all that talent, and you showed a lot of heart tonight. And I think America is proud for you to win tonight. Even the Buffalo Bill fans must know that you showed something really extraordinary, and I think you can be very, very proud of yourselves. And I want you to tell the players